So hello everybody, you're very welcome back to Law Hero. My name is Jen and I make videos about the law. And today's video has definitely come from a place of frustration because I've spent the last week listening to how the legal profession is going to change from people who don't know what they're talking about. It is true that we have a bias towards negativity. We latch on to negative news because of our survival instinct, and that's fine. I have no problem with that whatsoever. What I have a problem with is speaking outside your realm of confidence or competence. Competence. And what that means is speaking on subjects that one does not necessarily have a specific knowledge of, and that is mostly opinion-based rhetoric, usually taken from this fear-based standpoint. That's what I have a problem with. I have no problem with people speaking on topics they know about. That is why I went and researched this topic, which is tomorrow's lawyer. I've spoken about this before. If you go back on my YouTube channel, you will see that I'm a big advocate of the theories of Professor Susskind. I have been for many years, and I always will be. But I think things have shifted now. Things have shifted to the technology is here now that he discussed. The environment is here now that he discussed. So now there is more of an urgency. And I have seen that myself by being a committee member of some committees in the Law Society, that now it has become not just an abstract topic, but something that the Law Society, as the licence giver of practicing certs to solicitors, is now very, very wary of. But the problem is the specific knowledge set I don't believe is there, and that's why I think it is incumbent on all of us to educate ourselves on what is out there, and that will give us a better sense of what is to come. So without further ado, today's video is going to be one in a number of videos I'm going to do around, and you can almost guess, the impact of technology on the legal profession. I'm going to try and not repeat what other people have said, because this has been done to death at this stage. It's no longer a new sexy topic. It's just been done over and over again, and I'm even tired myself of talking about it. But I suppose I want to arm my viewers with knowledge so that if this topic comes up in your workplace, law firm, in-house, even in university, that you're not sitting there and grappling with topics as they come, that you have some sort of a foundational knowledge. Build your opinion off that, but don't, I would ask all of you, and myself included, opinions are usually based off emotion and, people's, as I said at the start of this video, the fear that you're going to lose your job, etc. Try and put that to one side. The law is reason free from passion, and keep that in mind when you're listening to all of this. Okay, let's get into it. Let's take a brief step back and look at the Irish context. We're not going to go into the whole pandemification of law, which moved law firms into the digital law era. I'm not going to talk about that. But when we do talk about that, we talk about, and I'm borrowing a lot of this from Larry Fenlon's interview with the Gazette, which is going paperless, remote court hearings, digital court filings, online mediation and e-signatures. And this simply meant that a lot of work was taken out the process of law, and that led then of course to the process outsourcing piece, the rise of the alternative legal service provider. For example, in Dublin, the big one everybody's talking about is Johnson Hannah. But most interestingly, our new regulator in Ireland, which is the Legal Services Regulatory Authority, they have gone and commissioned a few reports, and I think all of us need to pay attention to what those reports are actually on. So the first one is liberalising the solicitor training beyond the Law Society. And this will actually increase the number of solicitors who will come into the profession, which is very good. And you have probably seen that with the PPC hybrid, for example. He makes an interesting point, which is in Ireland, we have one solicitor to every 416 citizens, whereas in the US it's 1 to 240, which goes against the belief that the solicitor profession is oversaturated. Indeed, the training side of it seems to be saturated, but if we open up the market to more law firms, to these alternative service providers, that problem actually might be solved. For years, we've been waiting for the UK equivalent to a licensed conveyancer, which means somebody who does conveyancing as a profession. I think that would be really cool, and I think a lot of people would welcome that, especially in the Irish property market. The third one, which is something I have witnessed in Germany, especially working over there, is the hybrid they have between accounting, tax and legal. And you know that this means that the big four accounting firms would come in, as they already have done, and put a lot of pressure on the local domestic law firms that do not have that accounting and tax arm. And that means that those kind of alternative business structures, not only will they have more options for funding because they can be listed, they don't have to be a partnership, but also it means that it serves as a one-stop shop for corporates, which means you don't have to have separate accountants and legal advisors, which would be amazing for synergies and cost savings, not so great for the ones who are not offering this type of service. And that would also feed into the multidisciplinary offering of law, which is what like EY Law does, KPMG, Deloitte do. Finally, the merging of the barrister and solicitor profession, which I have been an advocate for many years, and that has actually been put on hold for the moment. And even I don't see that coming for a while, just because of the lobby that's there. So please, that is the first thing I would ask you to take into account, the reporting that has been done by the LSRE and where the actual profession is moving towards. So the next big area is legal tech. I'm not going to go down through that because, again, there's been countless articles written about it. The trend in legal tech is more towards, on the corporate side, digital contract management, like automated contract review by AI. And then we'll say on the litigation side, you have the discovery being done by legal tech. You'll have the notarization piece being done by legal tech. Like the research side of it when it comes to arguments in litigation. A lot of that has been done by legal tech. The trends I've seen personally, for sure, the number one is the large-scale due diligence in corporate transactions. Then you have the migration of document storage to a cloud solution. You have online dispute resolution fora. You also have, I would say, the workflow or task automation piece is no longer being done manually, and this is simply because the MI, or the management information that comes from that, looks better. You can tinker with it better than you ever could in Excel. So that makes sense. Will that remove certain roles? Yes, but there's also a gap there in learning how to use this new software. And he makes the point, Larry Fenlon, that in Le Mans Solicitors, where he works, that Ireland, they were the first law firm in Ireland to offer a legal tech seat as part of the training contract. And indeed, what I can see in the big law firms is this, triple threat, we'll call it, or triple thread. I would say this would be legal skills, technology skills, and project management skills. Those would be the three I would be looking for, especially for somebody who's looking to move into an in-house position. That would be what I would be looking for. If you want to speak about legal tech, it would be remiss of me not to talk about the rise of AI in legal tech, and I'm going to do a completely separate video about all the different aspects of AI, because I really and even if you look in 2023, it was the most looked up phrase. So there was another article in November 2023 in the Irish Times talking about will AI defend you? And that's a little bit sensationalist journalism, and that's not at all what the argument is about. It's about getting everybody's opinion on the use of AI in the legal context. So one of the points made by one of the consultants in Johnson Hannah is that these tools will be able to take care of a lot of high volume, low complexity work, usually done by trainees. And he says that does tend to be done by trainees, so naturally it's going to beg the question of, are trainee solicitors needed, or what does a traineeship look like? And then when it comes to who is actually using the AI, he made an interesting point, which is, I don't think anyone is really lagging behind. Potentially maybe, the small mom and pop law shop, because there is a cost involved in introducing it. And that's exactly it. It's the exact same as when case management came in initially. The big firms were able to do it, leverage economies of scale. The smaller law firms didn't have it yet. Over time, they got it when the licenses became cheaper. Then they asked Barry Scannell, who is arguably the only one who really knows AI law properly, I would say. And he's where I take my cues from, nobody else in the Irish sphere, to be completely honest. And he said technology will enhance lawyers, not replace them, which is a good point to make. They all say the same thing though. The AI will help reduce the administrative work, but it won't take away lawyers. You do ask Emma Redmond, who is the General Counsel at OpenAI, which was a wonderful appointment, by the way, because she's also adjunct Professor of Law at UCD, and I think that's wonderful to have an academic quote to ChatGPT. Wonderful. So she said any legal documents written by AI should not be relied upon until they are factually checked and corrected and reviewed by a legal professional. And that's the stance that OpenAI has always taken. So where do we end up with this argument that, from what I can take away, is if you don't learn to use it, you're going to be the one who's going to be without a job. And also if you don't learn how to prompt the AI properly, you're also going to be left behind. And I think all of us need to start thinking now what parts of our job are going to be automated and what grey areas of our job will become the value add, and how can we get better at those. So yeah, that was just an introduction to this law and law tech and AI series I'm going to do to try and educate people and myself around what's coming. I think it would be completely remiss of me if I didn't address it on my YouTube channel. I would be living in the Stone Age otherwise. But I also want to do it for myself. A lot of people ask me why I do this channel. It's actually a time for me to think out loud and think where everything is going. I'm also deeply invested in the future of traineeships and legal education. So this is completely fun nerd arena for me, and I'll see you in the next one.